Hey guys, Nick Horton here, the Iron Samurai, and this is another episode of Samurai Strength, Zen, and the Art of Weightlifting. And the question of today comes from Jason, and it's all about PRs, or PBs if you're European. In other words, personal records, or personal bests, and how to get more of them, which of course we all want, right? And his question goes something like this. I didn't memorize it word for word. You're going to have to accept a paraphrase. Sorry, Jason. He says, why is it when I go through your YouTube channel, which I've been doing a lot lately, it seems like every time you upload a new video of your lifters, it's PR, 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 another PR, another PR, another PR. Just tons of PRs all over the damn place. And here I am struggling to get one fucking PR every 3 months. And I'm sorry, he did not cuss like this at all. That's completely me. I have a horrible mouth, as you've probably figured out by now. I must have been a sailor in my past life. But the point stands that it is true, my lifters get a lot of PRs, and the ones that follow my advice the most get the most PRs. It's kind of shocking. And it's not because I'm brilliant. I would love to say that that was the reason. I'd love to say it's because I'm somehow some kind of genius programmer, and that my programs are the greatest thing since sliced bread. I like my programs. I'm pretty damn into them, and I am really into programming theory, if you haven't figured that out yet. It's a fascinating topic all on its own, let alone its practical applications and the excitement that we all get from getting big PRs. But the truth is, there's something even deeper than that that I did not invent. And it comes down to probability theory, and more important, something that we usually term the domino effect, and how by changing an initial condition, you can completely alter the future, or at least you can alter the likely future. And by a lot, not by a little, but by a whole damn lot. For instance, you have a set of dominoes set up, you can click it and you can go one direction, and all this stuff happens. Maybe that's the good one, right? All you get one PR, and that begets a new thing, and that gets a new PR, and another PR, and another PR, and another PR, and it's just a big, giant snowball effect, right? So I'm mixing metaphors, you don't have to deal with that. I like to mix metaphors. I don't know why people are against this. It's great. It's more fun things to talk about. Screw English teachers sometimes, man. They get a little uppity. The other one is you knock the dominoes the other direction, right? And it starts cascading in the wrong direction, cascading everything bad. And all of a sudden, your best case scenario is you plateau and don't get any PRs. Your worst case scenario is like you really drive yourself into the ground, you get injured, and all kinds of bad things happen, right? Either one of these scenarios can happen. And with the domino analogy, what you've done is you've completely altered your future by what you did in the beginning. All you did was you just pushed it one way, or you pushed it the other way. And by pushing one way or the other, you completely altered your future, right? It's like a fork in the road. Now, this isn't a deterministic thing, but it's powerful. It's powerful nonetheless. And at the core of any massive success that happens in anyone's life is a cascading effect of probabilities. And I'm going to go over with a whiteboard here some really fun example of what that means. But before we do that, I want to remind you that every episode of Samurai Strength is brought to you by weightliftingacademy.com. You can go there right now, register for free, and get a free ebook, get a 5-day video course on how to snatch. You get a bunch of articles, and there's a chat room and a training logs and a cool community and all this other wonderful stuff happening over there that's going to help you, in fact, put into practice everything we're going to talk about here today. And you can get all of that for free at weightliftingacademy.com. So let's move on. This interesting fact about the domino effect and all that stuff can actually be best understood if we go right back to the source, to the beginning. And I promise you, this is going to have everything to do with how you're going to be able to get more PRs in the gym, and why it's possible that my lifters are getting crazy amounts of PRs all the damn time, and you're not. And how you can put this into practice, and then you can too. You can join us, and that'll be awesome. Let's go back to the beginning. Not the beginning of anything to do with me, or anything to do with my lifters, or anything to do with you, but rather beginning of probability theory. It was, I wrote this down, I'm sorry. Again, my memory sucks. Monday, August the 24th, 1654. This is a fascinating date, and the reason it's fascinating is because that is the date that a letter was written from one of the world's greatest mathematicians to one of the world's other greatest mathematicians. Blaise Pascal wrote a letter to Pierre de Fermat, or you might know him as Fermat, if you've only ever read it and you didn't know he was French and the T should not be pronounced. I'm probably still pronouncing it badly. But anyway, Pierre de Fermat got this letter from Blaise Pascal. And in this letter, they basically invented what we think of as modern probability. Probability to some degree had always been around, but of course, human beings think about this stuff a lot. But in the way we think about it in the modern sense, what we're really talking about is predicting the future. And that was new. Nobody had ever, certainly not in a mathematical way, been able to deal with the possible events that could happen in the future based on what's happening now. That was a complete departure for human beings, and it was brand new, and this is really cool. What was in this letter is the answer to Jason's question, and that's pretty crazy considering that these guys were not at all thinking about barbells in the slightest, and yet it is true that what they discovered about predicting the future, basically, is the exact thing you need to have in your mind when you are going to the gym and working out every day. And by having this particular shift, which I'm going to call hunting for PRs, by getting into this mode of gaming probabilities, which is how you're going to hunt for PRs, is exactly the secret behind, I'm not just talking about my lifters, I'm talking about anybody who's successful at anything. It's the secret behind why they're able to get this cascading effect of good things when the rest of us are struggling to just get out the damn door, right? And obviously, of course, I'm not going to make some crazy claim that like you can actually guarantee things in the future. You can't. You can be hit by a bus tomorrow and then you're dead. But assuming the worst things don't happen, which aren't always going to happen, you should certainly set yourself up for the best possible scenario. And by doing so, you're gaming probabilities, right? It's not deterministic, but that gaming of probabilities is powerful, and it is the heart of why success begets success and why failure begets failure. Welcome back to another presentation on the Hobo Whiteboard. This is the game, my friends, that the two mathematicians were trying to deal with. It's called the unfinished game, and the reason it's called unfinished is because in the play of this game, these players weren't able to finish, and here's how it works. It's just like how a lot of modern sporting events go, where like you play one baseball game, right, on this day, and a person wins, or a team wins, and then you play another on another day, and the team that wins 3 out of 5 of those games wins the series, right? And so the goal is to win the whole series, not to win an individual game. And that's what's happening here between Pooh and Piglet, and they bet on this, by the way, this series of games. Pooh and Piglet each put in $5. They put $10 total into the pot, and they got 3 rounds in. They played 3 games of the whole series. And unfortunately, they didn't get a finish because Christopher Robbins called them in for dinner and they never got a finish. But the question that they had was the same question the mathematicians had, which was, if they had finished, which one of these two suckers was most likely to win? That is, they're 3 rounds in, not one of them has 3 total wins yet. So nobody has 3 out of 5 yet. Had they kept going, who was most likely to get 3 out of 5 of the games finished with a win so that they would win the whole series and therefore win $10? And so the reason they want to know this is because, well, they can't finish the whole game. What they want to do is split that $10 pot fairly. So let's say it was a 60% chance Piglet would win. I'm making this up. This isn't the answer. If it was 60% that Piglet would win and 40% Pooh would win, then Piglet gets to walk away with $6, Pooh walks away with $4, and that's pretty fair, given how far we've come in the game. If it was 70 and 30, then it'd be $7 and $3, and that's pretty fair. So the real question is, in order to split this $10 pot fairly, how do you predict the probabilities of who is going to win more often than who is not going to win? And what exactly are those based on what we know so far? That was what was perplexing these mathematicians. What's so cool is that as hard as this was for the mathematicians, and Pascal, by the way, Fermat got it pretty quickly. I said Fermat. Pascal, on the other hand, he really struggled with this. It's very likely he didn't quite believe the answer until his dying days, which unfortunately for him was pretty early. He died at the age of 39 of stomach cancer, kind of blows. But you will find this answer obvious. You're going to find this answer crazy, ridiculous, obvious. And that's only because To you and I, this is familiar. This changed the world of how human beings think. And when you get this, you take this that you're already going to see is obvious for the rest of the world, when you apply it to your weightlifting, it's going to change the way your workouts go for the rest of your days, and you're going to get a lot more PRs for the rest of your life. It's pretty badass. So here's how we figure out those probabilities. We have 4 possible options that could have happened if Piglet and Pooh had kept playing. One of them is Piglet wins both of the rounds they didn't get to play. He wins round 4. He wins round 5. If that happened, he certainly got 3 out of 5. So Piglet accumulated a win there, right? Or rather, that's a possible a scenario under which Piglet would win the entire series. Now, what's another option? Well, we can take this down here. Bloop. And this time, Pooh won one of them, and Piglet won one of the rounds. And that means 3 out of 5 still goes to Piglet. He gets another mark down here indicating that another possible, I don't know if you can see that. This is 1, and then this is 2, all right? That means Piglet now, there's 2 times that Piglet won the whole series under the different possibilities that could have happened. Now let's bring this one down. Now, what's that saying? That's saying here in this scenario, Pooh won 1, 2, 3 out of 5. So now he gets a big mark over here, right? And the last possible scenario is when this is up here. And yet again, Piglet, 1, 2, 3. He gets 3 out of 5, and he gets another one. So here we go. This is the big finale that the mathematicians discovered, which is that in the future, the possible futures that could have happened, there's 4 possible futures that could have happened. 3 of those result in Piglet winning. Only 1 of them results in Pooh winning. Therefore, there's a 3-to-1 odds that Piglet wins. In other words, 75% of the time, Piglet would win this series. And so he gets $7.50. Pooh only gets $2.50. And kaboom, kabam, pretty obvious shit. Now, how the hell does this apply to weightlifting? Why it's possible that Piglet came away with $7.50 and poor Pooh only came away with $2.50 is precisely because Piglet had won an extra game before they had finished. Remember, in the beginning, Pooh won the first round and Piglet won 2 rounds after that. What that means is that Piglet had 1 extra win over Pooh. Just 1. That 1 single extra event resulted in a future where he had 3-to-1 odds over Pooh. So by the 3rd round, he didn't look like he was that far ahead, right? I mean, that could have gone 50-50. Pooh won the first round. Piglet won the second round. The 3rd round, that was 50-50. That could have gone either way, right? But because Piglet got it, because he actually did win that round, he has now a 75% likelihood of winning the total series over Pooh. That's powerful. That's extremely powerful. And guess what is cool about this? This domino style effect, this cascade of effects, occurs in just about every single thing in your life, not least of which is the gym. So if you are able to give yourself those little edges, 1 little edge, that's all Piglet had. He had 1 tiny little edge over Pooh. You can change the probabilities of your future success dramatically. Absolutely dramatically. And you see it all the time. You see people who just they had a couple of lucky breaks, right? And all of a sudden, they get everything snowballs in their favor, and you're sitting there going, left in the dust, going, what the fuck, man, is going on? How come I don't get to have that too? Well, guess what? You can cause a lot of these little nudges in your own favor. Among the biggest things you can do is what I call hunting for PRs. Hunting for PRs takes a couple of skills. The first is you have to stop thinking of a PR as a single 1 rep max PR. Instead, define a PR as anything new you haven't done before. So that might be a 5 rep max PR. It might be a 7 rep max PR. It might be a 125 rep max PR. It doesn't fucking matter. Pick anything at all you haven't done and try to do it. If today you're like, man, I literally am not strong enough to do a 1 rep max PR today. There's no way in hell I'm going to get that. I'm going to go for my I'm going to go for my fail, but I'll probably just fail and be miserable. That's okay. Because maybe you have something else in you. Maybe you have a 10 rep max PR in you today. Maybe you've never done that. Maybe you have a total volume PR. Maybe you've never done 100 repetitions in any one workout before, and you're going to do that today. You're going to accumulate it in sets of 5, and so it's going to take you a while, 10 sets of 5, but you're going to get them because you've never done that. You've only ever done workouts where you got 50 total reps on the squat, but today you're going crazy. You're going for broke, and you're going to get more than you ever got. There's so many possible ways you can get a PR, and what it requires is for you to say, I'm going to go for broke. I'm going to go to the riskiest thing I can do. I am going to go hunt for a fail, basically. So if I don't think I can get this, but maybe I can get this, I don't know if I can or not, but I'm going to go for it. And I'm going to try. And if that doesn't work, okay, I'll go to the next thing. And if that doesn't work, I'll go to the next thing. And you keep hunting, you keep hunting, you keep looking. Doing lots of work, accumulating lots of work as you do it. You keep looking for another PR. And by doing that, you've not only accumulated lots of total work, you've accumulated a lot of work that's really hard for you. In other words, you've created a situation under which you have honest to God stressed yourself to the hilt physically. And that is what the real basis of constant improvement comes from, is always accumulating as much positive stress, that's what we call it, positive stress, as you can, so that your body has reasons to adapt. In order to get like a 1 rep max PR, that's an effect. That's an effect of a whole lot of causes. And quite frankly, they're usually caused by you accumulating tons and tons and tons and tons of PRs at rep ranges that are not your 1 rep max. So 5 rep maxes, 7 rep maxes, 10 rep maxes, even a 20 rep max. These are great things to go for. Volume maxes, again, are also an interesting one. When you're really feeling crappy, that's a really interesting one to go for because you can probably get more reps in that aren't maximum reps, you know? So that's the trick, is to hunt every single set. Hunt for something you've never done before. If you are like, man, I just did 5 reps. I've never done 7 reps with this barbell before on my back. I have never done 7 reps with this. I've done 5 reps though a million times. And your goal on paper was do 5 reps. Don't stop. Go for the 7. Because you've never done it before. Maybe you'll only get 6. Who cares? Go for it. And then, move on from there. And if you don't get it, that's fine. You'll hunt for a different kind of PR. Every single day, you should be hunting for some kind of PR in some rep range and something, somehow. Always be looking. Because if you do that, you're going to maximize the amount of total work and stress that you have caused on your body that day. And if you do that day in, day out, you are accumulating a drastically higher amount of total stress than anybody else around you. And that stress has a direct connection to the total amount of adaptation you get. That adaptation is what, of course, your PRs come from. Your big 1 rep max PRs come from. But the only way to get that is paradoxically to hunt for PRs. Almost never 1 rep max PRs. Almost always in other rep ranges. And then by doing that, you get more 1 rep max PRs than you ever could have gotten before. Again, because you've accumulated more stress. That stress has caused more adaptation. Boom. And so, in other words, what you've really done is you've caused a domino effect in the right direction by hunting for certain kinds of PRs that are maybe kind of low on the totem pole, right? Like a 10 rep max PR is much easier to get than a 1 rep max PR. By a lot. It's much easier to get that. So in the early stage, way back here when you're going to push those dominoes over, it's much easier to get that 10 rep max PR. Maybe you've done 10 before, you got that bar on your back, you say, I'm just going to grind out 11. Because if I grind out 11, that's a PR. And I've never hit 11 with this weight before, right? It may sound silly, but it's important because once you do that, you've just clicked over a little bit, just like Piglet did over Pooh. You clicked over just a little bit, and you've just increased your likelihood of getting PRs a lot. in the future. And the next stage, do the same thing. Every single moment, every step, try to give yourself a little edge, a little bit of an edge over your other self, right? I use Piglet and Pooh because they're fun, but in part because, there's that theory that like Christopher Robin's world is all in his head, and they're all individual like parts of his own character. I like that idea that you are Piglet and you are Pooh. So you can choose to go either way. And you can either be constantly edging towards being more like Piglet, where you're going to get that, you're going to get that, you're going to get that. Or you can be Mr. Complainer, Winnie the Pooh. And things just don't work out for you, right? Maybe I should have used Eeyore, because he's really bad about that. He's always complaining. I don't even have a tail. But that's the key. That's the trick. So if you're watching this, Jason, which you should be, because I'm answering your question, is hunt for PRs. In every possible rep range you can get. Give yourself that tiny edge, even if it seems silly and stupid. An 11 rep PR, what the hell does that mean, right? Totally silly. I'm a strength athlete. I don't care about that crap. You should care about that crap, because that tiny edge now increases your probabilities by a lot in the future. That's the sneaky, sneaky trick, and why probabilities apply directly to what you're doing now. The domino effect, that cascade of effects, is in effect all the time in your life, not least of which in the gym. So there it is. Pascal, Fermat, probabilities, and your PRs. They're all connected. See, the world is a cool place, man. All right, go to weightliftingacademy.com, sign up for free, and we can do more of this stuff on the inside, and I'll see you there. All right.